Hello everybody and welcome to another Blender tutorial. This time it will be about camera tracking and putting some 3D objects or 3D scene into your footage or to your actual video. We will try to recreate something like this that you can see on your monitor, and we will start with raw footage, something like this. You can make your own. This is just quick video in front of my office, and I made a lot of mistakes while taking this video, but now I can say I took them definitely on purpose, because I wanted to show you how to solve such mistakes, but it was just my bad. First of all, while I took this video, I turned off the optical stabilization in the camera, so the footage is really shaky. It was turned off because previous shooting, and I have manual focus, so this shouldn't be really a problem with such simple scene that it's not really depth, not much objects really close to camera and really far from camera, so this shouldn't be problem here. And you can see this is footage for camera tracking, and there are no artificial markers or even some papers or little stones, whatever I could track in the software. I think about using this as background to for the footage, for the render actually, and I didn't want to erase these markers in After Effects or DaVinci Resolve or something like this, so I have to fight with the footage as it is. So let's go right to the Blender and see what we can do. And just first thing we want to do, the footage is in format MTS, and you will probably have something like MP4 or whatever, but your camera will use format for videos that are meant for watching. And that's all good, but they are really bad for editing or for working with the data itself. You need some format that actually stores all the frames. These formats like MTS, MP4 and so on doesn't actually save those files, those frames, those images. They have something called group of images, where there is one frame that actually stores the data, it's the actual image, and next few frames are just information about what was changed from the previous frame. And that's bad for editing, because you go right to some frame and you have to wait for your computer that goes through the frames to the previous closest keyframe that is actually the image, and have to work its way through the frames, through the changes to the frame that you want to watch. I hope it makes sense. Maybe not, it's maybe too complicated, but the thing is, you have to have some format that is actually meant for editing, something that actually saves all the frames, or you take your footage and convert it to the frames itself, to the image sequence like this. And we can convert it with Blender, so let's go and do it. Go to the Blender and some Windows layout that let us edit videos. We mainly need the video sequence editor, and find our footage. It's here, and put it in the timeline. Also, here is to stripes. The green one is just sound, we don't need that, so delete that first. And what's wrong with my footage now? It's in 50 frames per second, but I left it set to interlaced frame rate, so it's not progressive. That means that if you want one whole image, you actually need 2 frames to create it. Well, and that's of course bad. We want only the whole images. So I will render, in my case, probably not in yours, if you captured your footage in the progressive frame rate. I will have to render every second frame, so only second, fourth, sixth, eighth, and so on. But the problem will come when it will be saved. It will be saved with the number of frame. So there will not be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and so on. And if I take this image sequence back to the Blender, it will recognize its image sequence, it will recognize the numbers, and it will put the images to the proper slots for the frames. So every other frame will be missing, and that's definitely not what we want. So we will have to rename it all afterwards inside Windows, here in the whatever it's called, viewer of files. But let's worry about it later. For now, we just need to cut part of this video that we actually want, because it's pretty long and it will take forever to track. I need something like 700 frames, few seconds of the footage. For example, from here, so I will select it, K to cut it, to here, cut it again, delete the first and last, move the selected part to the beginning, and don't forget to set the range to proper length. We need something like this, for example. So we will render 641 frames. We don't have to set anything here. Just notice the original dimensions of the video and set the resolution for your render to the same numbers. You cannot use the borders rendering while using this sequencer, so it doesn't matter for us. Also, frame rate is in this case irrelevant, because we will have each frame as it is. Other thing, output set to some folder and keep it in image format. PNG is, I think, the best, but whatever, you can use JPEGs or TIFFs or whatever you want, but image. And what else? Yeah, this video sequence editor is actually post-processing for rendering. So we don't want to spend any time rendering the actual scene. In the scene is nothing. There is just one camera and emptiness. So we don't want spend time to rendering this emptiness. So set the sampling to just 1 and light pass to 0. So it's fast. Okay, I think it's pretty much all for the transferring this video to image sequence. So just hit animation and it will give you something like, where it could be, not something like this, 1, 2, 3. But in my case, with setting the dimensions frame step to 2, every other frame will be missing. So I will have to rename it afterwards. Just simply select all, and with F2 I will select the first one and name it like track, and in the brackets I will type the first number for the frame, for example 1001, hit enter, and all of these files will be renamed to track 1002, 1003, 4, 5. Blender will recognize it as sequence and will work with it as needed. Okay, we have the image sequence. Let's go now to new file and let's track the markers that aren't there, but we will create them. Okay, go right to the movie clip editor and open your image sequence. Where it is? Tutorials, news, background. I believe it's this. Open this clip. Okay, it's here. But now we want to fast travel through the footage, and you can see it's pretty laggy. And here in the bottom you see this purple bar, purple line, and somewhere it's dark, somewhere it's light, and where it's dark it means that the frame there is actually put in the RAM of your computer, so it's really fast to access it pretty much instantly. So you set some frame and you see it instantly. But if you pick something in the light part, it means it's still on the hard drive. It has to be taken from the hard drive and put to the RAM, and it takes some time. So first you need to do, or even before that, you have to set the start and end. I know it's 700 frames, but if you don't know, just go here to track and set scene frames. It will set it to 700 frames. And here in the same tab, hit the prefetch. And it will try to pick all those images and put them to the RAM. But if you will try it, you will probably find out that it will pick like 30, maybe 40 frames, and it will stop. And it will not go further, even if you have more RAM. You actually have to go to the file and user preferences. I will wait a little, because for me it will actually acknowledge all the images. You will have to go to file, user preferences, to the system tab, and all the way in the bottom is here sequencer clip editor, memory cache limit, and this limit will be set to just 1 GB. So even if you have 8, 16 or even 32 GB of RAM, Blender will not use them. It will use only those 1024 megabytes, so 1 GB. I have 16 GB, so I can go to the 10 GB, just give to the Blender, and now it actually push all these 700 images to the RAM, and I can freely move through them. Okay, so just start with the first frame, and we can go place some markers. How the marker look is here in the settings, some prefabs. Here we can set, for example, fast motion, and here what we want to actually recognize. I really recommend to follow just location and nothing else. It will be faster and the camera won't be that confused. So go just for location and add one marker to some very contrasty place that you can recognize later. Hit Ctrl and left or right mouse button. It depends how you have set up your Blender. Place it right there or somewhere you think you can track it. And if I will display the search area, so here is how the marker actually looks. It's this little square, which is the image that is looked for. So here I can see what this marker will be trying to find, and it will not look to the whole image. it's just too big, it would take too long. So it has this search area and it will look only there. So that means that if this corner of the door will move inside the search area, this marker will find it and place itself there, and it's everything good. But if the camera will move too quickly and this little corner will go outside the search area between two frames, the marker will not be able to find it and it will just stop looking for anything. So keep this in mind, that you can change the position or scale of the marker, but if you make it too big, it will take too long. Also, you need at least 8 markers in each frame for the camera to be able to set itself right. And don't put all your markers on one plane. Well, if I would put these markers only on the door, like this, I'm holding Control to placing another markers, and other markers on these windows, for example, like this, and here. I have 9 markers, it should be enough for the camera, but because they are all in one plane, it will have really big error and huge problems to actually set the right focal length and everything else. Also, don't put markers close to the edge of your footage, because that means that if you move your footage, now this marker don't have anything to follow. Also, these windows, they will travel all the way from the footage away. You see, now the markers don't have anything to follow, so it will not work as it should. Okay, so I have like 4 markers here, they look pretty good. These are just not good placement for them. Okay, so some markers on the floor will be good, like here, 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 and somewhere inside of this pavement or whatever it is. But you have to be able to recognize this place later in the video. So if I place the marker there, and it will get lost, and I will have to replace it manually, I have to know where it was. So place the marker somewhere, you can recognize it. If you actually put some papers there for physical markers, it's the best option in my opinion, because you will always see some corners or something that will guide you. I will pick, for example, this lighter tile. So later in the video, I will know that if the marker is lost, it should be here in the corner of the lighter tile. So that's good. And I already have 8 markers, and it should be good enough. So now for the tracking. If you select marker or even multiple markers at once, you can track to next frame, and it will try to locate whatever it tracks. So just hit this, and you can see here it already have tracked some movement. So the tracker tries to stay where it should be, in the bottom also, and it looks pretty good. But you can go frame by frame, or you can just try to hit this and it will calculate all selected markers through all frames you have prefetched. So let's try it, and I'm pretty sure it will make mistake. It just have to. You can see they both end up in the wrong place, so somewhere they get lost. So I will go and search. You can see here in the little preview what it should look like and where it actually is, and it still seems pretty good. Still good. Where it get lost? Like right in the end, there is actually too fast motion for the camera. This corner in the next frame is actually outside of the searching area, so the marker or the tracker thinks it's this corner and not this. The easiest thing, I don't have to key anything. I just grab the marker, hit G, and place it where it actually should be. And the next frame is also bad, so I will place it there. I'm pretty surprised that there is no bigger mistakes or more mistakes. Let's try another marker where will definitely be some mistakes. Let's see this one, for example. Let's try a few frames, it goes good. And let's try anything. And you can see it's already somewhere where it shouldn't be. So let's find out where it gets lost. So here in the beginning, and you can see in the next frame, next few frames, it goes further away from the corner. So I will click this clear button. It will clear all the blue, so all the future tracking. I will manually just grab G and put it where it should be. Next frame, try a few frames. Okay, let's play it. It's already lost, so back. And this is pretty tedious process, but you just have to go through it, clear the markers until you get some nice result. There isn't much to it other than this. It's just long work. Better markers you have in the video, it means easier it will be. If you actually place your own markers in your video, you will probably don't have to clear anything. You will just create markers, hit this arrow, and everything will be okay. But in video like this, you will have to do it manually. Okay, what other should I tell you? To the markers, it's pretty much all. You just have to clear the footage and you should end up with something like this. Yes, I have pretty similar 8 markers somewhere in the video. I hit the prefetch. So I will move faster through the video. Okay, let's play it. You can see that the markers tracks pretty good. They are where they should be. So we can go and actually calculate the motion of the camera and even the camera settings. I remember many of them, pretty much all of them, but it's always better if you actually let it do the blender, because the numbers on your camera don't exactly have to be the actually used numbers on the footage. So let's solve it right here. Go to the other tab to solve, and we want calculate for the camera pretty much everything: focal length, optical center, K1, K2, everything that can be. And before I will hit this solve camera motion, I have to set just one value, and I have to set it properly. It doesn't have to be some pretty much, not this have to be the width of the sensor have to be precise. So I know I have this preset 1 to 2.3 inch. So this is my camera, my sensor in the camera. Everything else will be calculated with the camera solver. You have to know this. If you make your footage on the phone or some camera that you don't know the sensor inside, you are pretty much screwed there. You have to find out somewhere on Google or anywhere what sensor size is in your camera. Okay, I know that camera is in the scene. Pretty much nothing else. Everything is prepared. So I can hit solve camera motion. Okay, it's solved pretty fast. Here is solve error 0.86. If you have solve error lower than 1, you are good to go. You are set up. You can do whatever you want from now on. If your error is higher, it means that some of your markers doesn't follow the same path as the other markers. So it means, like, if I would have some rogue marker down here, and all these 8 will tell Blender that camera is somewhere, but this one marker says something else, then Blender will add to the error some number, so it will go higher. And you just have to find those bad markers, and if you have enough of them, just delete them. Don't try to repair it, clear it. Just delete the markers that you don't need. It's good to start with like 16-20 markers at the beginning. Try to solve it, and if the error is higher than 1, just delete everything that doesn't seem right and end up with the 8 markers that you need, and you don't need any more. Okay, now we can set up the scene from here. First and the most important is setting up the floor, so the actual rotation of the camera will be aligned to the video. Select 3 markers that are on the floor that will create the plane, and here in orientation set floor, and this marker could be origin. Set origin. You can set even the axis. I don't need that, and I don't recommend to actually set or apply the scale because it can actually pretty much damage your actual tracking of the camera. Okay, now the most important buttons: set as background, set up tracking scene, and it should be all for the camera. So go back to the 3D view. Now make sure you don't have lock camera to view. Let's go somewhere. This cube is for nothing, and we don't even need this ground or this light. We need just the camera, and we need the camera moving. So I will try to play the animation. It looks like it's moving. It's pretty good. Let's try it with the background. So here, background images, set it to movie clip. Let's see. It looks like it's working. Just the scale. So if I want to now change the scale of the whole simulation, I could actually break something. So before it, I will save the file, and then in the camera, in constraint, I will convert this constraint, this tracking markers and everything, to actually F-curve. So from now on, if I hit it, it's the animation. It's no longer calculating anything. It's just keyframes on location and rotation. So now it doesn't matter what will happen with the file, the camera is done. So I will change everything, the size particularly, and maybe rotation with another empty object. I will parent the camera to the empty, and all the changes I will make on the empty object itself. So here I will scale it like this. It's more like it. Each line is 1 meter. I believe there is more than 4 meters between these poles, so this should be pretty good. Let's try it with some object, like this teapot. Let's play the animation, and it looks like the actual tracking is done. Now we just have to prepare the scene, prepare the lighting, and the rendering and composition. And because we are already after half an hour, I will do this in the second part. So till the next time, bye.